Okay, class, we are picking up for the last part of our classwork assignment discussing history and Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry. We're comparing how the author uses or discusses education in the 1930s. So I am going to PDF Cabinet. Notice I do not have to go to Schoology because I have done the first half of the assignment as instructed yesterday. If you have done the first half of the assignment, you're going to follow me from this step at PDF Cabinet on. If you have not done yesterday's work, you need to go back to Wednesday's folder and look at the teacher video for instructions on how to do that. So I'm going to PDF Cabinet, and I did not close it, so this is my same document, I believe, here. I'm going to go to library just to reopen it, and I'm going to open my document. I clicked on it, and I'm going to click on open document. I'm just going to go back here to show you that I have completed my annotations, okay? So the instructions were to circle words I did not know. I circled a few words that I thought you guys might not know. The instructions were to highlight facts about education for white children in one color and facts about education for African American children in a different color. Notice my legend at the top. You just click on annotate. This is my legend. I did this on every page just so I wouldn't mix up which highlighter color went with which group, okay? And then the last bit of instructions were to write a central idea in the margins. I have done that as well, okay? And this is my central idea for the last one. So I've done everything I was supposed to do. Now I am on to my very last page of that document, and we're going to read the instructions. Now that you are done reading, complete the following graphic organizer to compare and contrast the historical accounts on segregated schools in the 1930s. You might need to reread sections of Chapter 1 from Roll of Thunder that discussed the Jefferson Davis County School and the Great Faith Elementary and Secondary School. So basically what I want you to do is go back to Chapter 1 of Roll of Thunder. I am reading Roll of Thunder in my actual book that I ordered. And so I have those places marked. So I want you to reread the sections that talk about going to school. So the first time we hear anything about the differences in school is when the siblings, the Logan siblings, Cassie, Christopher John, and little man see Jeremy. You remember Jeremy is the white young boy who was headed to school with his sibling and her friends, okay? And so Jeremy asked the kids, are you guys going to school today, just starting school today? And Stacy tells him yes, and Jeremy says, I wish ours was just starting. Ours been going since the end of August. So that is something that we now know from the historical account, that white students and black students did not have the same amount of time to go to school because black students had to work in the fields, right? So that's a detail that is in both. So in the middle box, I'm going to write that white students, no, I don't want to write that. I'm glad I have this mistake on. What I want you to do is click on annotate just as I did earlier. Hold that middle button, go to the text box, and click on the one that has the line and the ABC. Now tap that box because I actually want you to have a text box, okay? I don't want you to write. I know some people have Apple pencils or a stylus, a pen style or stylus pen, but others don't. And so writing with your finger can get kind of choppy, like I might not be able to understand it. So we're going to type. So for my first detail that that the article and Roll of Thunder chapter 1 have in common is that white students went to school longer than black students. Okay, so that's one detail. And I'm not going to do one long text box. I'm just going to put a new text box every time I want to type in a box, okay? Now, so I'm going to have to go back to my document to see some things that I highlighted here, okay? So one thing that section 2 told me is that if black children had any books at all, I'm looking here. If black children had any books at all, they were hand-me-downs. I also saw that in the novel in chapter 1. So I'm going to put a text box here and make it fit that box. And I want to put that the books black students had came from white schools. Okay, I wanted to put when they were no longer usable at the white schools, but I'm just going to leave it at that. Now I'm going back, and when I go back, you guys, I'm not rereading that entire article. I'm only looking at the things I highlighted. Okay, so I'm looking at the things I highlighted, and I am also looking at the book. And so you guys can look on your PDF just to compare what you see in the book and what you see in the article. So here's one thing. For white children here, it says that many white children, on the other hand, many white children lived in cities and could attend well-funded schools. Now I'm going back to my book to see if that's what Cassie's mother told us when Miss Crocker went to her. So that's not a detail that's just in this article, because Mama tells Miss Crocker that no one cares about what's happening down here. In the second place, if anyone should come, maybe he could see all the things we need. And then she goes on and on into all the things that they need. So I can make an inference and say that the white schools did not need all of those things, okay? So that will actually go in my middle box. But I want to show you, just for the sake of the video, something that could okay, so here's something. You see this? Fewer African Americans were enrolled in school. The book doesn't tell us that anywhere. Roll of Thunder never tells us that. So now I'm going to put my text box in this first one, because you see this first box says details only in the historical account. So if I only see that piece of information in this historical account, it goes in this first box. So I'm going to type basically that in my own words. Not many black children went to school. Okay, so that's a detail that's only in the historical account. Now let's see if we can find a detail that's only in the book. And so what I'm thinking about, because I have read chapter 1, if you've read chapter 1, I'm sure you remember some things as well. So I am thinking about the section where Cassie tells us what Jefferson Davis School looks like, the Jefferson Davis County School looks like, and what the Great Faith Elementary and Secondary School looks like. And so when she talks about the Greater Faith Elementary School, she does say that the buildings are not in good condition. That's in our article, so there will be something in the middle box. But she also tells us something about a church being there, right? We could hear the church bell. Okay, so I'm going to put that the church was on the grounds with the school. So I'm going to enter a text box here. Let's see, how am I going to get that box over there? I'm doing. Let me delete that one. I'm moving it this. I did it again because I couldn't get it where I wanted it. It was over off the page, so I put it in again. Okay, so the church was on, so I'm going to be specific. So it wasn't just any church, it was a church that the black people attended. So the black church was on the grounds with the school. Okay, and so I have done that one. And so let's talk about how many details. Okay, so for this middle box, I'd like you to have at least 5 details, and I am going to write it there. Include 5 details here. And then for this only in the historical account box, I want you to include 3 details, at least 3. You can always include more. And the same thing over here, include at least 3 details. So you're gonna have to have that your PDF copy of Roll of Thunder. You need to be able to look in that, and remember it's in chapter 1 where we read about the different schools, and then you also need this document open. So it shouldn't take you very long to have 3 details for your historical account, 5 for details that are in both the historical and in Roll of Thunder, and then 3 details that are only in Roll of Thunder. So remember, if it's only in Roll of Thunder, that means that we cannot look in the historical account and find that same information, okay? So this is sort of like a Venn diagram, but it's just not circles. They're just boxes, okay? So the middle box is for both, and then the outer boxes is for just one, okay? So the one side is the historical account, and then the right side is Roll of Thunder.